So how do you know if you're getting a heat stroke?
So heat stroke is kind of a continuum of symptoms, and you kind of start with heat exhaustion, and everyone's heard of that, and it progresses to heat stroke. But a heat stroke, you're more at risk for it once the temperature reaches above 90 degrees, and you notice symptoms of drowsiness, lethargy, being lightheaded, even passing out, and it can progress all the way to a seizure. So, it has to be where the person's temperature can be anywhere between 101 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit.
Now that gets pretty hot, so what do you do to cool somebody off?
So you want to make sure you get somebody into the shade, make sure they have their clothing off, have cool clothing on, get some cool towels on them. If you can, get some cold water on them, make sure their legs are up, and kind of go from there. If they are having neurological symptoms, like where they're confused or they've had a seizure, certainly you need to call 911.
All right, well, we've got the sun, we've got the heat, but we've also got to worry about sunburn. So sunscreens, tell me about those.
So sunscreens, there's a lot of talk about sunscreen now. So the American Academy of Dermatology certainly does recommend sunscreens of at least SPF 30 or higher. We really want to stay below the SPF 50, so anywhere between 30 and 50. For an adult, you need to fill the size of a shot glass up of sunscreen to cover your whole body at least once every 2 hours while you're out in the sun.
Well, we had some pictures up there. That's what you're trying to prevent, because sunburn leads to skin damage, skin cancers.
Yes, it can lead to skin cancers, and it can also lead to photoaging, so wrinkles, sunspots. But certainly what we're worried about is the skin cancers.
Now, we talked about prevention of sunburn and heat stroke. One thing I wanted to mention, too, because every year this happens, and even though we say don't let it happen, pay attention, is a kid gets left in a hot car.
Yeah, never, ever, ever leave your child in the car, even for a couple of minutes. And, the things that are most important is if your routine changes in the morning, you want to make sure you know where your child is at all times. And also, once you make sure that your child is out of the car, make sure you lock your doors so children can't get into your car from the parking lot. Okay,
now, summertime, insect bites. And we're into mosquitoes too sometime, and Zika. How do you prevent some of that?
So a lot of preventing bug bites is making sure that there's no standing water, kind of eliminating mosquitoes. But if you're going to be around areas where there are mosquitoes, make sure you use your bug spray. There are lots of different types of bug sprays. There's certainly natural option like eucalyptus and lemon oil. But DEET is really the most proven way. It's what the CDC recommends to prevent insect bites. DEET with a percentage of greater than 20%.
Okay, poison ivy, poison oak. Is there something you can do to treat it before you end up at the doctor's office?
So you can get an over-the-counter steroid cream, a Benadryl cream, and that will kind of help. But the best thing with that is prevention.
Okay, swimming pool, swimming safety.
Yeah. So you want to make sure if you've got young children, you are always inside of them when you're around water. Certainly, we actually recommend you're within an arm's length away of them. Make sure that if you do have a pool, you have at least a 4-foot fence around it.
Okay. Bike riding. I've got a lot of friends recently who've had terrible accidents in bikes. Bike safety, what do we need to do?
So helmets, that's really the most important part. It doesn't matter if you're riding down the block or if you're riding in the Horsey 100, you want to have your helmet on.
And watch for traffic.
Right.
All right, one thing I always wanted to do as a kid, my parents would never let me do, and I think they were right, is jump on a trampoline.
Yeah, so we have a lot of injuries every summer with trampolines, especially the ones that are in the backyards, that are up on legs. You can get safety things like, nets and fences and things like that, but we really do recommend avoiding trampolines.
All right, well, that's great information to keep us healthy this summer.